I begin today by acknowledging the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, traditional custodians of the land on which this podcast is recorded today. Also pay respects to the elders past and present, and extend that respect to any other Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people who may be listening today. This is Melanated in Melbourne, a podcast designed to give an insightful look into the Australian lifestyle from the lens of two Black American besties. All right, welcome back, Melanation. My name's Rashard.
And I'm Nicole.
And this is Melanated in Melbourne.
Melanated in Melbourne.
We are back here today with our very average guest.
Average, don't do that. Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm only here for an hour?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
An hour is enough. That's
Average.
That's about as long as we can stay in the same room. But Isaac has returned to the booth.
Isaac, welcome back, Isaac.
Hey.
Yay,
Thank you very much for having me again.
Yeah.
How have you been, good sir?
I have been good. I'm currently learning French and Swahili.
Ooh,
At the same time?
Yes, at the same time.
Are they similar, or are you just
Not
like,
at all.
I was about to say I didn't think they
The
were.
exact opposite.
Oh, my brain thought Senegalese, but yeah.
No, Senegal's different side.
Yeah.
But I am at the end of the year going to Kenya and the Congo.
Oh my gosh, how incredible.
And so part of that is my dad keeps going, when are you learning Swahili? When are you learning Swahili? And I'm like,
Yes.
fine, I'll finally learn. And then because I'm also going to Congo and they speak French and Swahili there, I'm like, I might as well. I've always wanted to learn another language.
Yeah.
Of the European.
The European.
So,
yes. Oui, oui, s'il vous plaît.
You would love a little wee wee.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Your excuse?
First of all, it's probably a big wee wee.
All of it. This all staying in. It's all.
Yeah, this is I've got nothing for this as well.
Shout out to the wee wee.
Shout out to all my wee-wees out there.
Wait, so does Dula Peep have Swahili and French? Duolingo? Dula Peep?
Duolingo, yeah.
Do the peep.
Yeah, French is like the second biggest language on there, and then Swahili was on there, but it was like the Tanzanian one, but it's all sort of like, I know that a lot of like Africans give Kenyan shit because we speak Swahili in the very proper, posturous
Oh,
way,
okay.
if I had to anglify it in a certain...
Got-
Yeah,
so it's
like the Queen's English.
Castilian
kind of.
Spanish versus Mexican Spanish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that type of ordeal, yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
So that's basically what I've been doing at the
That's
moment
so
with my life.
impressive. Yeah, the only Swahili I know is definitely the bits from The Lion King. Where it's
No,
like,
same.
Go
yes,
Still.
That's a good
Seriously.
base. It's a good base knowledge, I think.
yeah.
No, it actually is. Rafiki means friend.
Yeah. Pumbaa means warthog.
Yeah, warthog. No, like genuine half of it. Mufasa. That doesn't mean dad, does it? I think it does.
Big Black Daddy.
I
No.
think. Yeah, no, I think it does. I think it specifically means
Yes.
big black daddy.
Stop.
Stop. I knew what I was getting. It's like sometimes you make a deal with the devil just to get what you want, and you have to deal with the side effects of doing so. So,
If anybody out there speaking Swahili, we are so sorry. We're very
so sorry.
so sorry.
So sorry.
Sorry. We're not speaking Swahili. Gotta keep an eye out for Celine. All right. I'm sorry. I had to. My brain could not continue until we got that out. But good on you, honey, for learning. Wow.
Thank you. Merci.
Merci. Oh.
Mon ami.
Asante. That's the Swahili one. So.
Okay, that's the Swahili. I'm learning so much.
It's such an educational podcast in so many ways. Like what not to do when you're speaking foreign
Pretty
languages.
much. And speaking of learning so much, we're going to be having a bit of discourse today, aren't we?
I mean, it's not intended to be discourse. I think there will be discourse based on the company we keep.
Oh,
Looking up no particular people.
okay. He's looking directly at Isaac. I just
Yeah.
want to tell our viewers that.
I mean, I feel
Into my soul.
even in my tone, I feel like they knew exactly where that was pointed. Without visuals, they knew exactly where my eyes were going. But today's topic, we're just talking about the media that made us, because we talked about a lot of our experiences here, but we don't talk that much about younger us. Like, because I know there's always those times when you sit around with people and you can tell someone watched Arrested Development their entire life and made it their personality. Like,
Yeah.
I know some friends who are Lucille Bluth. Like,
Yes.
they want to be her so bad. They're like 25, 26 years old, acting like an 80-year-old woman. And she's like,
Yes.
the gays are so flamboyant. I don't want to set myself on fire.
Yeah, I would rather set myself on fire and die. I love all my children equally. I don't care for Job. Shout out. Oh, God, what was her name? I wish I could remember her name right now.
She just passed a couple years ago as well.
She did just pass, but she got what an icon.
And like I think just sitting around, because I know we're all very active people, and I know growing up, the TV was my friend because I was at home a lot. So the television was my friend, movies were my friend. So I saw these things and like, I'm going to adopt that because I couldn't really adopt it from group settings. So I was like, I'm going to steal these personality traits from TV shows.
Fair.
So we're going to talk about some of our favorite things, whether they be movies, TV,
music,
music as well. Media that made me, essentially. But before we get into the discord of things, would you like to go first? Because although you are Isaac, this is what Isaac. Again, my eyes were pointing.
Yes.
His eyes are like directed into my soul again.
Well,
Like he's ready to throw shade, and I'm like,
me.
yeah.
I said I didn't want to. I just wanted to talk about our fun physiques.
Just a discussion.
Just a discussion.
Yay.
And if it goes there, it goes there. Whatever.
Great.
Oh,
Are we
okay,
going to do this like by category?
We can just do like, you can take one of your favorite movies, TV shows. We can discuss it. If we watched it. If it's a show that wasn't huge, we can describe to the viewers, make them do some research, Google it themselves, what have you. But maybe we go around, list our number one TV show like that was like, damn, my first rewatch. What's your favorite rewatch show? Like from growing up?
See, because mine has changed so much.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because like when I was a kid, all that was running in the house was Simpsons, which I think, yeah. And Seinfeld.
Yeah. Wow, come on, balance. Yeah.
Seinfeld was everywhere, and my uncle, he has all of it on DVD, and I would come home from school and I would just have all of them on loop. And I'm trying to think of like any specific Seinfeld episodes I remember.
There are some classics out there. Yeah, I feel like Seinfeld was so freaking relatable, even as a kid. Especially, it was like during the time of things, because a lot of the problems that exist on Seinfeld wouldn't necessarily.
They don't translate.
They wouldn't happen today because of cell phones and whatnot. But however, there are still
a lot of awkward miscommunications and moments. It was like,
totally,
it's of the time.
Totally, because I had a Seinfeld. I feel like you could have a Seinfeld moment
yeah.
every day. You could have one every day. This past Monday when I was working at the cafe, I was waiting on a table, really cute family, and then they get up and they leave. And then one of the customers is like, oh, I think they left something here. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, gotta chase them down. And I'm like, excuse me, you forgot your purse. And then they're like, oh, yeah, that's Grandpa's bag. And I realized, I'm like, not that we making fun of, listen, don't do that. Don't have me canceled and caught up. But you could tell that Grandpa wasn't ready to accept that he was carrying a purse.
Yeah.
He was like, it's
a satchel.
Yes. Yes. It's a European carry-all. It's a purse. I carry a purse. But Grandpa was not ready to admit that it was a purse. But it was, excuse me.
It was a very large wallet that couldn't fit in his
Correct,
pocket.
exactly. But I was like, listen, I thought it was a little Michael Kors joint. I was like, this cute, sis. Where'd you get this from? But Grandpa was not too pleased.
Have you ever had to order a big salad before?
I sure have.
Because that is a weird order to make.
I love a big salad. I'm so Elaine in that, right?
So I've watched all of 3 episodes of Seinfeld because in my core heart of hearts, it was just too white for me to process. And like, I know a lot of the content that we consumed was going to be super, but for some reason watching Seinfeld was like, everyone's really annoying. Like they were just really annoying. And I was like, all of them, they're all terrible. They're like, I know it's like, it's a show about nothing. Kramer, like if someone burst into my house like Kramer, I would like, get the fuck out of my house right now. Like absolutely, I don't care. Bessie's like, no, you call first. Like you knock first. You email me. You do something. I don't. The 90s. You write a letter.
I will say, I think like back in the day, we knew our neighbors a bit more. Whereas like nowadays, I don't know none of my neighbors.
That's true.
I don't know none of my neighbors, but I do understand somebody flying into your apartment.
Hey, buddy, what you up to?
Yeah.
You could be naked. You could be having guests. You could be having a fight with someone. And they're just like, oh, let me just come back. Like, no knock, no nothing. Because even in my last place I lived, I got to know my neighbors because I did want that neighbor experience where you're like, hey, neighbor, can I borrow a cup of sugar?
Yeah.
But even then, like, I'd be hosting poker nights and my neighbor Cameron would just walk through the door. Like, cool, that's fine. He knows that's the time. He knows the door's unlocked.
Yeah.
He's happy to come in. But just showing up, couldn't do it. Could not be me. But of my 90s era shows, Will and Grace was my shit. all the way through. I used to sneak and watch that show. I know I see your face fixing up to say something, but that's okay.
No, I'm not fixing up to anything. I was just like, I did not expect that, but at the same time, totally should have.
Yeah.
It was like the first thing I saw where gays weren't just the punchline of the joke. Like, Will was a lawyer. He's a successful lawyer. He had all these friends. And Grace was like his bestie, but she wasn't really doing that well. But her designs were awesome. And like, they were just like, they had this banter. The banter is what I stole from them. The little back and forth quick whips. I'm like, ooh. Love that. I could do that. I could make up some really quick whips back and forth. So I think that was my show to rewatch over and over. The reboot was good.
Oh, boy.
I don't know that it needed to happen.
Yeah.
And it is kind of upsetting that Deborah Messing is the way that she is currently, because it kind of like tarnishes the show the tiniest bit for me, because she doubled down on the pro-Israel thing. And I'm like, girly.
Wait, sorry, what was the...
Deborah Messing?
Yeah, no, but what was the thing?
She doubled down on Israel has the right to defend themselves.
Oh, yeah, because
and she's been posting
she's a Zionist,
holding fundraiser, full Zionist.
Here I was trying to hold back the whole Jerry Seinfeld going to Israel.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
I mean, it's very real.
You can love the characters, but knowing that they are just people who have their own opinions,
Yeah.
and if they have shitty opinions, and like it tarnishes it, but it doesn't take away from the impact that it had on you. Like
Totally, but it's hard to cheer for somebody being pro-genocide.
Yes, absolutely. So it's just like loving the show and the person are two different things, I feel. And because it's long over, you can't just like go backwards. Although the Cosby Show, people feel differently about.
I mean, and understandably so, because of the light it's casted under. But I think at the same time, he just never really folded all the way over for me.
I was uncomfortable. When you think back of it, yeah.
He was, for lack of a better term, he was one of those uppity blacks who would
Yes.
be like, black people are the only ones who eat chicken and drink liquor and shoot each other over sneakers and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, those are all like white supremacist talking points, even if it is coming from this, high level up kind of thing. Because in my opinion, I personally would not hate on the hood. There are a lot of problems out there, but I wouldn't hate on people in a lower socioeconomic standing. And a lot of the stuff that is popular starts out from the hood.
Yes.
Because that's where innovation is made, because people have to figure things out. So I don't think punching down is necessary or needed. Fuck Bill Cosby. Sorry, I just needed to
I was going to say, it's funny you mentioned that, because I obviously grew up in Australia. I have no real connection whatsoever from Bill Cosby. So literally the first thing I really properly saw of him was hey, this guy drugs people? And I was like, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Like, that was just literally, literally my connection.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's funny because my first engagement with black media probably is just all like hip hop or like the Wayne stuff.
Oh man, the Wayans, man, what a superstar family! They're just so freaking talented.
We're brothers.
We're
happy and we're singing and we're colored.
Give me a high five. And then before that, like their older brothers, Keenan Ivory Wayans, having In Living Color, the sketch show. And I think I have the first season of In Living Color, and I will say it has not aged very well.
Oh, absolutely.
However, the laughs back then. Baby, it was funny. It was very, very funny. And they were some of the only ones doing that.
And in the era, living single as well.
In a 90's kind of world, I'm glad I got my girls. Keep your head up, what?
Keep your head up, that's right.
And the Australian did not grow up with that. And it's just like, what?
And it's so funny because I was watching a show last night. I was watching Monk because I love Tony Shalhoub.
Me too.
And I love a detective show. And there was an episode where some guy was on it, and then my partner was just like, oh, that's the guy from Mad About You. Did you watch that show? And I just looked at him. I was like, no, I didn't watch it. Just because in the 90s, we had such a plethora of black television and black shows. Like,
shout out to UPN as a whole, because like UPN was giving it to us,
turning it out. We had, first of all, Jamie Foxx had his own show. Academy Award winner Jamie Foxx had his own show where he worked in a hotel, and the antics he would get into, and my God, like tears streaming down your face. It was so stupidly funny. So good. So the Jamie Foxx show, and then let's see, who else was it? Oh, Martin. Big. And then a show that was very much in my DNA that I didn't even write on my list, but Moesha.
Mo to the E to the Mo to the E to the
Brand, because I was a Brandy girl.
Same, absolutely. And the spinoff, the Parkers as well, like that.
Yes.
So there was And that's why I was actually really glad to have you here, because a lot of these things I know did not go across the pond. Like,
Didn't get over
I've
there.
been looking like I don't know, Fresh Prince.
Oh my god!
Yes.
Fresh Prince was
of course.
probably like the.
That's probably the biggest we got.
He was
Totally.
on
It broke
WB, I
through.
think. He was on the WB, so that was like the wider channel too.
Yeah.
Because remember, WB and UPN merged, but UPN was almost exclusively black content. Like it was that, it was one-on-one, it was girlfriends, it was half and half. It was like all of this black content.
So
like
much.
The late 90s, early 2000s were just like, it was everywhere, but then they merged and almost none of them made it over.
Correct. Because there's really not a whole lot of black television. I wish they would bring it back, because nowadays you don't really get it. I can't really even think of like a lot of predominantly black shows right now. No.
Oh, actually, so funnily enough, I just thought about, while you think about black shows presently, about fuck Bill Cosby, the Boondocks.
The Boondocks.
I was just waiting to get to that.
Yes.
The Boondocks. So I started on the comic books, and like my mom got me into that one, and the comic strips, every other one would have
Aaron
like
Magruder.
would have Bill Cosby with sunglasses on saying some fucked up shit and having like Huey reacting to it, and it was just the best thing. So when it became a TV show and it went full left, like absolute Adult Swim, and they were like, this is a lot more adult than I was expecting. I was 15 when it dropped, and I'm like, I'm watching it. It came in like 2006, I want to say.
Man,
Yeah, that's
peak-
about when I was like, 12 or 13 when I started seeing,
peak freaking comedy. It was so funny and just raw and edgy, and again represented that dichotomy, duality of people, because there was Riley,
Huey
who
and
was
Riley.
like the
Yeah.
Riley was very much the hood nigga of the crew. he was ignorant but so funny. And then you had Huey, framed after Huey P. Newton, who was more of the activist, more of the connected, like we got to overcome kind of thinking. And then you had Granddad.
John Witherspoon. When he passed, I actually cried. I know it's silly to have those feelings for people. I grew up with that man as my granddad. Like him on Friday, Boondocks, like when he passed.
Yeah.
The episode where he's
He's
just
on the
like,
Wayans Brothers as well.
What was it? Where he's just like, oh, I wish Santa would give me a golden shower for Christmas. It's the
was it Friday?
R. Kelly.
Oh
It's
my
the Boondocks
God.
episode for R. Kelly. and like they're talking about it on TV, and he's just like, "Ooh, I wish Santa would give me a golden shower."
Because he didn't know a golden shower, man. He's like, that sounds lovely. I would love a golden shower. I
And
wish Santa
Riley,
would give me a golden
Riley's
shower.
just like laughing, going, "Well, if you could, maybe Santa will give you one for Christmas."
I would love a gold shower right there. Yes. Well, no, whenever Granddad was
gosh.
dating the hoe, and he's like,
Yes.
Granddad, stop giving hoes cheddar biscuits, Granddad.
Why are you giving the host cheddar bay biscuits, Granddad? Oh my gosh, it was just so funny. And even the Usher episode, where Usher came in and took Tom's wife.
Yes.
And then Tom was singing out in the rain with his shirt. He's like, look at my chest. Oh my gosh. If you haven't watched the Boondocks, I mean,
You need, like, I don't know where it's, is it streaming anywhere?
again, it's one of those things where it was like so far ahead of its time. So I would be happy to go back and watch it, but like probably like bracing myself a bit.
Oh, absolutely,
To see if there's like,
Because they
How much of it?
were aiming to make people uncomfortable. They're aiming
Very.
to do those things.
Aspects
Like,
of it's aged better than it expected. Because I've rewatched a few years back now, but I remember rewatching it and thinking, shit, this show's actually. It was when season 4 came out when they did the.
when there was like a break and then season 4 came back. Yeah.
I didn't watch the newer seasons, but I was there from the very first episode.
The garden party.
Yes, and it is like
Ronald Reagan was the devil.
September 11th was an inside job. I was like, oh my God. And that was in the first few seconds of it. But yeah, staying power for real. Yeah. I hope we get more shows like that.
I would love to see more shows like that. While we were talking about that, I was still trying to think of like current black shows, and like nothing popped into my head. But I was like, a dominating force. Like, yes, there are. I mean, Insecure is its own space. Like, I wouldn't.
Yes.
We had
that was
Insecure.
the closest. That was the closest that we got, and it was very well done. God, shout out to Issa Rae. It really gives me that reminiscence of the 90s show, a predominantly black cast, and not afraid to use deeper tone black people, because sometimes you see that they always well, obviously they favor lighter skinned people because they want it to be digestible, because a lot of TV now is thought of like, how are Barbara and Jimmy in the Midwest, how are they going to relate to this? Because that's the demographic we care most about.
Yep.
So they're like, well, we don't want them to get too scared, so we got to water things down a bit. But back then things were a bit more unapologetic, but it really felt like Insecure really hit that.
Absolutely. And like I actually saw a special about the lighting, because the lighting, again, like you said, the lighting was fantastic. Like it, because it is so genuinely hard to like get dark skinned people and have. They had a lot of dark scenes, like night scenes, where it's just like, well, I think there's someone here. Like someone smile.
Yeah.
Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, like they were very.
You can tell when they got a black crew working.
Yeah. Because man, they look scrumptious in that lighting. It was so beautiful and just. Yeah, it was unreal. God, what a time. Shout out to Insecure. Love it. Going back to, like, well, I mean, still in it, 90s sitcoms, I really believe in my DNA is The Nanny. With everything about that freaking show, God, I just loved everything about it and how fun it was and how playful it was and the fashion of it all and just the humor. Because for me, I believe that a lot of my personal taste when it comes to humor, I think Jewish humor is very funny. I think it's funnier than Anglo humor. Jewish humor and black humor are two very different things, so I'm certainly not comparing those two, but I think when it comes to mainstream, I think Jewish humor is just funnier. Because it's a lot more internal. Robert Reiner, who directed one of my favorite rom-coms of all time, When Harry Met Sally, he talked about the difference between Anglo humor and Jewish humor or Jewish storytelling is that the obstacles are within you. That's why even with Seinfeld, it's not about what's happening around them, but it's about the neuroses that take place inside their head that cause a lot of the conflict and turmoil, which is what's so funny. And then I think The Nanny, I was like, Fran, she's this beautiful woman, but the fact that she just wanted to get married more than anything in the world, and that drove a lot of her humor and her mom. Oh, and Yetta, oh my gosh, and so good. And Mr. Sheffield.
I have something on. I don't think he was attractive. I think Miss Fine could have done so much better. Like, I think his personality was unattractive. Even though he was cute and the accent we always played. Growing up in America, any accent, so I was like, ooh, he's so fancy. I hated him. Every time he was on screen, I'm like, girl, stop. Like, you could walk down the street. Someone thought she was a lesbian. That lesbian could have been a better partner to her than Mr. Sheffield. Like, she had so many things going for her. Like, she was fun, quirky, loving, and all these things.
She was
and
a 10.
He was rich with kids.
She was a 10. Yeah, I okay. I can understand that because she was just so fabulous, but I think that's the whole thing, the fact that she was so focused on meeting someone and wanting to meet somebody.
That was like her core.
That was her
core plot line. Like, I need to be married.
That was her core. Yeah, that was like her core. Yeah, it's like I'm never going to get married and like lying about her age. Like, oh my gosh. And then
she raised those kids for free. Like, I never finished it.
For free.
She raised those kids. Like, yes, she was the nanny, but like she was underpaid. Wage. She was underpaid for the effort because those kids were bad. Those kids were not.
I don't know if they were bad. Like, I don't know if they were bad. I know.
But were they good? Did they stress her out or did they make her life easier?
No, because she was like, even when like Maggie would do things like wanting to sneak out, Fran would encourage her. She's like, you need to go out. You need to sneak out of the house. You're a teenage girl. You need to be wearing short dresses. You need to be wearing makeup. Because Maggie was just like, oh, my father really wants me to act this way. And Fran would be the one being like, no, you need to go out and make mistakes because this is the time in your life to do it. Brighton was the middle brother. He did annoying little brother things, but I don't think he really did anything that was too bad. But I always remember the episode, peak 90s, of Maggie trying out to be in the Billy Ray Cyrus music video because Achy Breaky Heart had taken off in the States, and they were like, well, we got to get Billy Ray Cyrus on all these 90s sitcoms. It was just so wild. And so she wanted to become a model. But then Fran wanted to be a model in the video as well and was like lying and saying she was in her 20s, knowing damn well this woman's like pushing 40.
Yes.
Fantastic television.
What about you? Because we've done a lot of heavy American reference. Like, what else did you grow up on that was not necessarily American based, but what shows shaped you?
Because the show that just sort of reminded me of The Nanny, but not really, was Frasier.
Oh my God! Yes, yes.
See,
good comedy.
That was my
Good
white show
comedy.
that I fucked with. My stepdad loves Frasier.
God,
Shout out to Corey because he called me out for never giving him a shout out. So shout out to my stepdad Corey. He loves the shit out of Frasier, and like I think they're all hilariously queer coded. Like, yes, they are going after women, but their brothers are gay. Like, you can't tell me.
I know.
Niles
Definitely.
especially.
But I mean, his longing for Daphne was such a great plot point.
Yeah,
So good. Who's my Maris? My Maris?
Who did we ever see her? Because
No,
never
that
see
was the whole bit.
like, because maybe I was missing the episodes. I'm like,
The closest you get is when they're hiding in a bathroom with the shower curtain shut.
Yeah.
And they're hiding from her. And at first, Niles is hiding in there. Then, like, I think Daphne comes in. Then Frasier comes in. And then they're all hiding in there. And then Maris walks in, but you never see
and it's just an outline of
Yeah.
her.
I was like, oh, Maris. Oh, I didn't expect to see you like this. Yeah, but that was like the whole running bit. It's like with
Stan from Will and Grace.
Yes, exactly, with Karen's husband, because it's funnier to describe the person than it is to actually see them. Especially the longer it goes on, you can just be as outrageous as you want to be.
She gets more and more old and decrepit, and like they start describing boils and stuff, and you're just like,
Why are you? But that's also you're describing Will's. Your wife is this like unattractive person, and you're like, oh yes, my wife that I'm still married to.
Yes.
And I want Daphne, who I'll never be with, so it's easy to. When I was in 3rd grade, I was pretending to be gay because like that's what everyone was supposed to do. And I remember like, oh, this girl in my class is pretty. I'm
Wait,
going
you were
to.
pretending,
you were
to, be
pretending
gay?
to be
I was
gay?
pretending
Yeah.
to be straight. Excuse me.
Wow, see that?
I was so progressive.
Yes, come on.
back then.
Yes.
I was so progressive. I'm pretending to be gay, and then I was for real. If you try, fake it till you make it, everyone. So I was-
see this? It's a lie.
yeah, all of this facade. No, so I was pretending to be straight because I've known I was gay since before I knew the word. And when I was around 6, I learned the word. I'm like, oh yeah, of course we're all gay because girls have cooties. Because like, what other logic is there if girls have cooties and they're gross? But then we're all gay, obviously. But then I found out when I was 8 we weren't all gay, and I was like, oh, well, this means like people don't like this word, so I'm gonna pretend to be straight too because we're acting.
Yeah, fair.
acting. I'm acting. So I'd seen enough movies to know what you're supposed to do when you're like in love with someone. Like, oh, this girl's pretty. Like, you always know when a woman's beautiful. So she's really pretty. Brittany Lott. I wrote a whole little love note to her based on all the movies I've seen. I handed it to her thinking I was all smooth and cute, and she read it out loud to the whole class.
Oh no! Oh no!
And I was just like, well, if I wasn't gay before. But it was giving that energy. It was like, yes, I'm pining after this woman who everyone thinks is attractive, and I can never have her. Turns out she was a lesbian, by the way. I ran into her at S4, a Glade Club in Dallas, and I was like, Brittany? She's like, Rashad, what? Ah! And like,
Oh my
she's
gosh.
like full on boom lesbian. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense, of course.
Yes. Shout
Of
out to
course.
the boom lesbians.
I'm pretty sure like the woman I went out with in high school is either bi or a lesbian now as well, which makes a lot of sense. But
Yeah.
Oh, the gays got to stick together.
And
I love
she's
that.
a stud as well, so I was like, well, you know what? I have good taste.
Yes. Yeah.
But no, that Niles gave me that energy. It was like, I'm just doing this because I'm supposed to. Like, I can't tell my aging dad who still lives with me and his dog that I am a homosexual in this era. No. But I can go after Daphne, who's just my bestie.
Aww.
And she'll never do anything. It'll never be a thing. I mean, it probably was in the show because it's the 90s. You can't really be gay like that anyway. But yeah, that's the energy I got.
Yeah, I think if they, well, I guess they are going to do a reboot at some point. But David Hyde,
have the
but,
trailers.
Yeah, but David
God.
Hyde Pierce is not going to be a part of it, if I'm not mistaken.
Gotcha.
Which is
A huge
a
misstep.
huge misstep and oversight, because the best part about Frasier is the dynamic between the two brothers being these blue blood, snobby elitists, and thinking everybody
Thinking
else
they're in
is
touch with the world.
Yeah, thinking they're in touch with the world, but they're so out of it, and they just talk about Yale and Harvard and stuff that doesn't even really matter. But Martin Crane. Talk about a fantastic actor, because I never even knew Homeboy was English. I didn't know he was British until way later in life.
The dad's British.
Yes, he is British.
You know what?
He's British in real life, and he puts on the accent and does it fabulously. That's why it was always funny with him talking to Daphne, who is British, and being like, God, how does he not slip out? Because if I'm code switching and I'm talking to somebody from the same neighborhood as me,
Yeah,
I'm gonna slip back.
I'm gonna slip
back
yeah.
into it. But he never faltered. Never faltered. So
I remember with Frasier as well. Daphne taught me how to blow smoke rings.
oh yes.
There was an episode where she shows
Education.
Nigel how to like blow smoke rings, and he's just doing a dumb face, and that's the joke. And for whatever reason, as a kid, that just stuck with me. And then once I began not smoking, I just went, I'm going to try and do that thing that she said. And it actually worked, and I was like, oh my God.
That's amazing.
So, everyone, Frasier, it teaches you how to blow smoke rings.
Wow.
Wow.
It's the smartest show on television. Teaching you.
Teaching kids how to smoke. Speaking of learning things from television show, did either of you ever watch Static Shock?
No, I don't think so. No.
So Static Shock is one of the, I want to say he's one of the lesser known characters of DC that I actually absolutely love. So he has electric powers. Like he grew up in the hood. There was like a toxic spill.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And his best friend's a little white kid named Richie. He eventually gets powers as well. He's just super smart, great sidekick. But they actually address like a lot of racial issues for Saturday morning cartoon. It came on right after Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And all those things. They would deal with racism, homelessness, just like class things in a very direct way, not like a little passive, like, oh, everything's perfectly fine at the end. We're happy and friendly, go lucky. Like, no, these kids had actual trauma and things in their lives they were dealing with. He was still a superhero, like the Big Bang. They called it the Big Bang. And all these people were mutants and they were stealing from the rich and giving to the needy. And the bad guys weren't actually bad. They were just in bad circumstances, bad situations. So it was like, I think that's one of my favorite shows. That's why he's technically my favorite hero, but he's never going to get like a movie. Like Black Lightning's the closest thing, but they're not the same character. They're both in DC, but Black Lightning is not Static Shock. So I think he might have popped up on Black Lightning. I didn't watch all of it, but absolutely top tier television for educating children, because the white kids are watching as well. Because if you're watching Pokemon, this comes on afterwards. It was great. It was only canceled because no one bought the toys. And because merchandise runs everything, and it had higher ratings than like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh at the time, but no one bought the toys because like no one's gonna buy black toys, and like we didn't have that kind of money to buy black toys, and so the white kids weren't buying black toys. It got canceled, and I was like 12 when it happened. I was angry. I was like, my show, but top tier. Like I think it's on HBO Max, but we don't get that here. It's like, they need it back. I need it back. But that was one of my shows because it was also really witty, and his dad was present. First of all, I think his mom may have died, and he was with the stepmom, but his dad was like so actively involved in their lives because for black television, for black kids as well, the dad was always missing because that was the trope. Like the deadbeat dads disappear, and his dad was always there, and his dad found out about his powers. He didn't know that his dad knew. But his dad knew, and he was like making all these excuses for him, trying to help him out, and his sister as well. So the whole family was just very cohesive and lovely, and it was just top tier animation for me.
Ah, that's so good.
I was just saying, the 90s did something to like just TV content. Well, not just TV content, but movies as well. Where I guess Reagan just did a huge fucking number on the country.
Yeah,
Correct.
And all the content.
We have to course correct.
So much of it is very. Even The Simpsons gets very not necessarily political, but we'll discuss issues which you wouldn't necessarily. I wouldn't say you wouldn't see that nowadays, but there would be more of a gut reaction nowadays, whereas it felt a bit more normal.
Yeah, to have those candid conversations.
Yeah, I guess in the 80s, there's a lot of shit going on. But in the 90s, we had the tech boom. And then America was hit with a surplus of money. We had so much money, we didn't even know what to do with it. And then the media industry was just thriving. There was enough money for everything. Well, take that with a grain of salt. But when it came to like
everything they wanted to spend,
everything they wanted to spend money on.
Universal healthcare.
Yeah. No, we don't need that. We
Here's
need
another black
somebody
show.
who's like a stylist for dogs. And but they were just willing and ready to throw money at anything. And then even the movies. Then people were just like
90s movies are so good.
90s movies were so good and so bad at the same time. It was just this beautiful line being walked.
So one thing I didn't know until I did research into this. So you know the Super Mario Brothers movie, the 90s one?
Yes, with John Leguizamo and that other guy.
Oh God, he played in Roger
Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Yeah, that guy.
So I'm blanking on who the writers are. But they're two guys who are basically Trey Parker and Matt Stone types.
Yes.
And they literally were just like, you've given us the property of Mario. Fuck, we're just going to turn this into a Trump allegory. They were hard, like there was no unashamable. That was in the 90s.
It was Bowser. Bowser was Trump, right?
Yeah. And he has the red tie and he has the tongue and he's a creep and he wants all the land. And
I remember being so uncomfortable watching that. And I was like, because I was like, yeah, I played the video game, and I saw them like, I don't think I should be watching this.
That's what's so weird with the 90s. Even when it's trash, it's still, they gave creative people just this license to go wild.
Whatever,
And they were like, all right.
Do whatever. The example I always use for how insane movies in the 90s was that we had a movie with Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. And we said,
masterpiece.
We are going to have them switch faces and get so much plastic surgery that each one takes on the persona of the other. And we believed it. And we wholeheartedly...
So good.
Face Off is a masterpiece, and I will not accept any slander.
It's actually insane as a concept. It's unreal that we were like, not only did we let it happen, but we cheered.
I mean,
We cheered when it happened.
this is not the same vein, but I guess just like 90s action stars. Arnold Schwarzenegger doing comedies. But
big.
Last Action Hero.
Yeah, I did not watch it, but it was
I haven't seen
amazing to see him go from like that transition of being this
Terminator.
massive action star, huge action star, into being like, you know what, I'm gonna get into comedy.
Jingle
And-
All the Way, forever and always.
Wow.
Turbo
Great.
Man.
This world is full of sick people, man. Shout out to Sinbad, man. That was a funny movie. But yeah, when people like what you're doing, you could do anything.
Absolutely.
And Arnold was the American dream. He was the exact personification of the American dream.
And it's so funny because he never did any accent work, so it was always just
No.
like he was like in a
Never.
Midwest city, and he's like, no one's gonna wonder why you're here. Like,
Listen,
Why is the
Spy.
Terminator Austrian?
listen,
Spy.
we're not even. Listen, I'm about to shake it up. I don't even think he really did any acting either. I mean,
didn't. He was just reading from the script.
like clearly he has something that people like and enjoy because he has a lot of success. So I'm not talking shit, but a single role he's in, you're like, oh, okay,
Yeah, that makes sense.
that makes sense.
Of course.
And he does it well. And he does it well.
I always say when it comes to celebrities who become actors, like a Mark Wahlberg type, where that was the wrong person.
No, you're not. You
But-
no. You were 100%
Yeah,
correct.
but
I just
like-
have a visceral reaction.
Yeah,
to
no,
him as
because
a
I had a
person.
visceral reaction to
Yeah.
saying his name, and I
Yeah.
just went.
I'm just not. I'm just yeah.
But credit where credit's due, they may just have a range. And they go to do their job and they perform within that range. And some of the times when we see actors acting bad, it's usually because they just perform outside of that range. And I'll always respect someone like Arnold because he'll be like, I understand what I can and can't do.
Totally.
And I'm just going to work within that realm.
Totally. And you enjoy it. You eat it up
Yes.
every time because he's likable.
Give me that content. Absolutely.
He's likable for sure.
I was trying to look up how many lines of dialogue he had in Terminator 2 because apparently it was like...
Something minimal.
It
Yeah.
was something like under 100 or something silly like that. It was something where it was like $10,000 a line or something.
Was it
And I like,
was it more or less than Keanu Reeves in the John Wick series? Because that man doesn't
he
talk.
does not.
That man
he
does
had
not
grunts.
talk.
He had grunts, but
He's like,
Yeah.
John, other person,
yeah.
Whoa.
you're here.
You killed my dog.
Unfortunately, I am. All right. And then they're
Oh my God,
fighting.
and then they're fighting. Yeah.
Another person, he gets his range and he works with
See,
it.
and I love me some Keanu
Oh,
Reeves.
Speed.
I love,
Oh.
like Speed. Again, peak 90s.
The chemistry between him and
Sandra Bullock.
Very well.
Oh.
Very well done. That
Was Bill and Ted 80s or 90s?
90. Ooh.
it may have been on that cusp. It may have been like,
Like
89,
late 80s,
90.
yeah.
It may have been that. But
Bill
yeah,
and
he was
Ted's.
killing it. That Point Break with Patrick Swayze. I love me some Keanu
Oh,
Reeves.
yes.
Like, don't say nothing bad about him in front of me.
No,
he's very
especially knowing his life story, because I would say he's a child actor. He started pretty young. A lot of people's lives are kind of fucked when they get into business and there's no one protecting them. So to have gone through all that and then still just be so wholesome,
yeah.
Grounded, yeah.
protect at all costs.
Protect him at all costs. One of my favorite silly 90s book for me, it is Baps with Halle Berry. It's Academy Award winning Halle Berry playing a woman named Niecy from the hood. She does hair. And then her best friend, oh God, I cannot believe I've forgotten her name, but I know that her name is like Natalie Desselle in real life, and a very beautiful actress who passed away. And there are these friends who want to try out to be in a music video, and they're terrible. They can't dance, they can't sing. They go to try out for the music video, and then they get picked up by the butler of a rich man who's like,
Okay, no, this actually is starting to sound familiar.
it's like, or not the butler, the nephew of a rich man who's like, can you come and pretend to be the daughter of his old maid? Because my uncle, he's very rich and he's getting towards the end of his life. But if you could just lie and say that you're the daughter of his old maid and just come and hang out with him in his house. And they're like these ghetto hood rats who go into Beverly Hills. It's just a fish out of water kind of thing. And it is just, you watch it, you're just like, I cannot believe that she wins an Oscar. Like later years, like that's how silly and funny and just ridiculous the movie is. But at the same time, it really made me realize the power in being funny and not taking yourself too seriously.
Absolutely.
Because then we get absolute gems like that. So shout out to Bats, shout out to Halle Berry, rest in peace, Natalie Desselle.
Absolutely. I think another very silly movie for me that I can watch over and over and over without stopping is Rat Race.
Very funny.
Rat Race is one of my top tier movies.
Rat Race. I'm trying to
Cuba
remember.
Gooding Jr., Whoopi
Oh,
Goldberg,
yeah.
Rowan Atkinson.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Whoopi Goldberg.
John Cleese. I said Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh, sorry.
You forgot the blueberries. I said blueberries. No, even watching it again, I watched it recently, a couple months ago. For being from 2001, aged very well. There's only like one or two jokes that are like, ooh, that didn't, ooh. But the rest of them was very solid comedy. Like, they're making fun of each other, but not punching down. And it's just like...
Kathy and Jimmy. John Lovitz.
They just... Seth Green. Breckenridge, like all of them are just Amy Smart. They're just like, it's star-studded cast, and Smash Mouth is in it again, which in the year 2000, 2001.
Smash Mouth used to be everywhere.
That Shrek, Mystery Men, that All-Star just touched all, like, all of my favorite movies. So like, I should listen more Smash Mouth, but I don't. And it's funny, I was indoctrinated to the Smash Mouth ideology because it was playing on everything. I can't tell you another song outside of All-Star, but I'm sure there is one.
And you weren't watching WrestleMania because that's what they were like all the time as well.
No, all my neighbors they were huge into it, but I'm like, this
Walking on the Sun.
This is just too gay. What, Walking on the Sun to the Smash Mouth song?
I'm pretty sure. And then the girls were hippie chicks, all hit the crits. Dun, 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 dun. You might as well say, so don't delay. Act now. Your
Yes.
time's running out. Yeah.
I feel like
But had to reach into the deep, dark, dusty boxes. of my
Scooby-Doo.
phone. Yeah. Oh, no, it was Sugar Ray.
But no, yeah, that's because I remember, because it was Mark, whatever his name is, from Sugar Ray, and they
Mark
were like,
McGrath.
yes, and they were definitely that movie.
Mary Jane. That's like my favorite name.
No, when they were making eggplant burgers in the car, but they were playing the Rossi music, and all the smoke was billowing out, and they were just making burgers.
Eggplant burger. Yeah. Shout out to Matthew Lillard. Brilliant casting all around in that movie.
Fantastic. Just.
Yeah. But Rat Race is definitely very funny. Definitely.
See, I
very
know
funny.
I have seen it.
Yeah.
But my brain, for whatever reason, is just going, oh, he means it's a mad, 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 mad world, right? And I'm like, no, Rashad doesn't mean it's a mad, 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 mad
Wait,
world.
what
from,
is
like,
it? It's
Donnie
a mad,
Darko?
mad, mad word.
It's like similar premise, but like came out in like 50 something or 60 something.
I certainly don't mean that.
And yeah, that's what I mean. And that's why my brain is going, no, Isaac, you have seen Rat Race. Remember that movie. But
Yeah.
it just keeps going, no, just remember this one. And I'm like, no.
It's like, no, that's all I have space for now. Sorry. Like,
Kind of does. I'm like, damn it.
Do you have a funny movie that you just can watch it? Doesn't matter how many times.
I'm trying to actually think. Hot Fuzz is one.
Hot Fuzz is a good one.
Aeroplane is one.
Airplane is classic. I am
Airplane
serious,
is-
and don't call me Shirley.
Shirley?
Yes. So many jokes. So many jokes.
I like
Make
my
it
coffee
gone.
like I like my men. Black. Little child.
Excuse me, stewardess. I speak jive. Oh my God, Leslie Nielsen, peak.
That is one of those movies where I do like, I show it to people and like, 30 seconds in, they'll be like, oh, this movie's too old. I don't want to watch it. But then like...
What?
No. Then another minute passes and they'll just be laughing. And then they'll be like going, oh, okay. And then they relax with it and they realize it's a joke. And you're like, yeah, it's a comedy.
Yeah, kids.
But, yeah.
Kids, if you're listening out there, God willing you are. Just because a movie takes place in a different time, or you think you're like, oh, like this is too old, like open up your mind, because there is really, really, really good art that was made before you even got here, and you need to be open to it. Because let me tell you, not a lot of these movies, especially comedies,
They're not doing it.
they're not doing it
Not
nowadays.
doing the same way. There's still ones that are, but absolutely not. It's really funny you said you hope the kids are listening, even though we've actively said no kids should be listening to this.
Everyone younger than me is a kid. Everyone younger than me
Children
is a kid.
gather round.
Yes.
Auntie has some stories
Yeah.
to tell you
Remember
about
pennies?
the younger
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
Not the pennies.
Because comedy's in this weird state with movies because the Marvel movies have kind of taken over what comedies
Yes.
were.
Yeah.
And so now we don't have just straight comedies anymore.
We do we have gay comedies?
Huh?
We got gay comedies?
I wish we had more gay comedies.
Actually, yeah, no, I wish that pros.
Yeah, but I think I understand what you're saying.
We
It's
say
like
comedies.
like studios in Hollywood are afraid to take risks.
Well,
They're
yes.
afraid to take chances. They're like, well, we need to make this.
Comedy is highly subjective.
It's subjective, and sometimes there's just got to be shit that doesn't work. But nowadays, they'll make a movie, write something, and then 20 people trying to make a decision on one joke or one thing, and by the time that it gets out, it's been watered down or changed so much, and now they're just like, well, if we're gonna make a movie, let's just make these big blockbuster superhero movies that we know everybody's gonna see regardless
And they
whether
take
it's
all
good
the
or not.
genres.
Yeah, whether it's good or not.
Big
like, people
explosion,
will-
hot people, and one-liners.
Yeah, and I really hope comedies can recover. I'm really hoping that they can recover because some of the best.
I think it's getting good with A24. Everything ever all at once.
A24 is
that one,
really
like
good.
all the Oscars.
Honestly, like,
Really good
I
because it was unexpected because
Yep.
they took a chance and they were like, we're just gonna throw everything at the wall and see what lands.
The movie no one saw, Babylon, had me laughing every 5 seconds.
I need to watch it then.
who's in it?
Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie, Brad Pitt.
Oh, yes. I
So
remember hearing about
it had
this.
the worst marketing, and it just completely killed the entire movie. The movie is just a big look at how good Hollywood is and stuff. But like,
So how is it different from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
it's like
Without any spoilers. Good luck.
no, because here's the thing. I'm trying to describe the comedy in it is so broad, and it has that old school slapstick comedy.
Oh, love it.
It's basically a movie about the transition from the silent films to the talkies, and how a whole bunch of actors basically lost work, and how
Because their voices are terrible, and it's like, oh, you
like
you
I don't know
Oh,
if you've seen like
fantastic.
Boogie Nights before.
I've seen Boogie Nights.
It's literally
yeah.
Boogie Nights, but instead
Paul
of the
Thomas
porn
Anderson.
industry, it's the film industry. The opening scene is them trying to organize a party, and it's like a Wolf of Wall Street style spectacle. I remember one of the funniest moments in the movie, because I'm not one of those people, I laugh very loud in a cinema.
Yes,
What?
same.
I know, right?
I would have never guessed.
Period.
And
I paid my money. I'm gonna laugh.
yeah, exactly. And it was me and 4 other people in this theater. 2 of them were teenagers, 2 of them were old people. And the one joke that had me in tears of laughter is when Brad Pitt's like talking to this executive, and he's like in a bathroom, and the executive's like, oh, this movie's really big now because it has talking in it. And Brad Pitt just goes, do you think people will want sound in their movies? And then in the background, you just have...
Stop it. That's so dumb. That's
And I just burst out laughing, and I was, this movie is brilliant. Silence through the whole cinema.
Wait, was the raspberry blown by someone in there, or is it in the movie?
No, in the movie. Just someone in the stalls just does this massive... And mad props to the sound guy. It sounds like this thick, diarrhea, detailed...
not thick.
It was method acting. Someone was shitting themselves with a mic.
It was one of those... It wasn't one of those comedy like, oh, he farted, tee-hee. It was a liquefied... I've not laughed
that's
so
so
hard in a theater.
That's so dumb. Well, now I have to watch it.
Oh god.
It is
Yeah.
3 hours.
3 hours?
You watch it and tell me what you think. 'Cause
I will definitely.
That's the reason I'm not watching The Dunes. Isaac keeps trying to get me to watch The Dunes. I know I've heard they're great. Everyone says they're great, but I don't have it in me. If I'm not excited
because
for
I think
it.
it's like it's one of those things where I was like, this is up your alley, Ethan.
Everyone who keeps saying that to me, I'm like, I know I should just sit down with it one day, but like, you have to see it in IMAX. I'm like, but my TV has a thing
is.
here.
Yeah.
I also, because I had that same reaction when I saw part 2, where I was just like, Rashad really needs to watch this. And I know he won't go see this in IMAX,
Yeah.
even though that's sandworm writing. But anyway, yeah, check out Dune.
Yeah, I mean, now that we're like in the age, feels like there's more 3-hour movies. I would much rather watch it at home. Yeah, snacks, bathroom breaks.
Movies have actually
Yeah.
gotten longer.
They
well,
have.
they've done this weird thing where they actually have gotten shorter.
Yes.
But then just in the past couple of years,
They've got longer.
out of
than-
nowhere, they've done a ton of 3-hour movies.
I
'cause-
think it depends on the directors because some directors are like, well, I need all of this.
Yeah, especially adaptations. Like, oh, I want to tell a real story. The book was 1,000 pages.
Yeah.
I need 4 hours and split in 3 parts.
Although one good thing, which I do think they need to bring back, is intermissions.
Yes.
If you do a
Oh my
3-hour
God,
movie,
please.
just bring in an intermission, and I think that would rope people back in.
Yeah.
Like, Oppenheimer, phenomenal movie. 3 hours.
I gotta figure out how to do it.
3 hours long, and it goes by like a breeze. It's genuinely felt like a 2-hour movie.
You're the
Wow.
only one who's ever said that. You're the only one
However-
I've ever heard to say that.
Yeah, because I don't.
Really?
To me, when
a lot of my friends are like, it is long, but it's good, but it's long.
It's long in that it's exhausting because it's edited so fast. The best description I can describe for its editing is it's like they took a 10-episode miniseries and said, let's cut it to basically the essentials.
Cool.
And that's why I love it, because I hate miniseries, because I'm always like, you could have just turned this into a movie.
Yeah,
Anyway,
and especially the episodes that when they draw things out and you're just
And
like, come on, we could have.
literally,
Yeah.
the thing I loved in Oppenheimer, in the first minute, they tell you the plot of the movie, they tell
Totally.
you the characters, everything,
Very.
and I was like, shit, this... Usually a movie would be like 20 minutes in to get this level of efficiency. So I was impressed.
Yeah.
But one thing, if you watch it, after the Trinity test, pause it, intermission for like half hour, it's the perfect spot.
I am going to have to work my way up to it because I told that story on the podcast of when I tried to watch Oppenheimer, right?
It's not popping up in my head, so tell it again.
Okay, because I wanted to see it because I'm a big Christopher Nolan fan. I think he's very imaginative, innovative. I really love, and I wanted to give it a go. But I was like, it's such a long movie. I was like, I'm going to go see it at like 10:30 in the morning. And then I'm walking. I was like, all right, but I need to have some food. I need to have something because it's going to be a long time. And then I went and I stopped and I went to go get sushi. And I just got a couple of hand rolls. And I'm like walking. And I'm like, am I about to go see a movie about Japanese people being bombed and I'm going to eat sushi in it? That doesn't seem, that seems like it's in poor taste. So I was like, oh, okay, let me not have the sushi. So I ended up getting a POC Solidarity smoothie. Walked in, but it was on the extreme screen because they kept saying you should go see it in IMAX. And it's stadium seating. So I go all the way to the back. The opening credits.
Of IMAX?
Like, it was the
was
knockoff.
Hoyts.
It
It's
was like
extreme
Hoyts.
screen.
It's the extreme screen. It's just big. The opening credits are that rolling, boiling fire and that insane Prometheus quote. And the music and that crescendo. And and I was sitting there and I was like, I'm about to watch a horror movie.
It's a horror movie.
I'm
It's
about
actually
to
a
watch
horror
a
movie.
3-hour horror movie at 10:30 in the fucking morning, and the sound was so loud. And I was just like, I actually started to panic in there. And I was just like, all right, I need to count something to kind of center myself. And I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 17, 18, 19, 20. And I was like, there's 20 speakers in here. 20 speakers pointing at us. I'm like, the bomb is going to go off and I'm going to hear this sound that the only other time people hear this sound is when they're about to die. This is the last thing they hear before they're disintegrated. And I was just like, this is too much for me. And I got up, I walked out, I walked to the front desk and I was like, I'm having sensory issues. I'm not going to be able to watch this. Could I please have my money back? And they were like, that's fine. There's been a few of those.
So the whole score is violins as
It's
well.
so
it
terrifying.
is just violins for
Unnerving.
3 hours.
Violins make me so nervous. 'Cause
Unnerving.
like the devil media has
And-
trained us to be like, violins, like they're beautiful, but something horrible is happening.
Well, that's, yeah.
You didn't tell this in the podcast, but you told me in real life because I was hanging out with Jose. And
Yeah.
I was like,
I
think
messaged
texted
you because I was like, I just gave up on a movie.
And I was like, because I was like, oh, I'm literally in the CBD with Jose, and you met us and told this story.
Oh my God. I just couldn't believe it. But yeah, he's so good at making movies. Like Batman Begins is like, oh my God.
So I grew into Nolan.
Okay.
In that his earlier work, I was very like, whatever. And the Batman movies to me were just sort of superhero movies. But then for whatever reason, when Hollywood were just like, look, we're just going to give you as much money as you want to make whatever you want. And he just goes, I'm going to make a movie that has like cars going in reverse and like weird explosions and like, he's just going all out. And I really like it.
Is that
for
Tenet?
Yeah.
Still haven't seen it.
I haven't seen Tenet either.
I love Tenet.
Yeah.
Because it's literally just a 90s action movie with Denzel's son.
Yeah,
being
that's in...
all hot and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, is that Denzel's son?
Yeah, John David Washington.
And it is literally just like...
John?
Damn.
Yeah.
Nepo baby.
The problem with
Hey,
like
we need
Tenet-
some black Nepo babies. That's what quality is all about. That's what quality is all about, baby. As long as they got the talent.
Yeah, the problem with the movie is, you know how people intellectualize Nolan movies a lot, and they're like,
Yes.
it's so thought-provoking and mind-blowing, and you just have
Yeah.
to really watch it multiple times to understand. Tenet's not one of those movies. It's dumb. It's
Yeah.
a dumb action movie.
Okay.
But if you go into it with the mindset of, oh, it's a dumb action movie, I'm not going to try and think about the logic of time travel here. It's amazing. It's just, you have a bad Russian villain.
Oh, yes.
Played by Kenneth Branagh.
I do love a good Russian
I
bad
mean,
Russian.
I'm going to have to say it. I'm glad we're back in the age that we're
Yeah.
Russians have become the villains
But the one thing with it,
in movies.
seeing it in IMAX, the soundtrack, the best way to describe the soundtrack is 90s action movie meets Kanye West's Yeezus.
Wow.
So
okay.
It's just really loud, lots of synths and lots of just percussion.
Yep.
The movie, like, when watching the movie, you know when you go to a concert and you just vibrate?
Vibrating?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the only movie I've been in where I've just vibrated for the whole movie, and I was like, I can see why my mum turned this off after 5 minutes and was like, I don't need to watch this.
Yeah. It can be a lot.
Yeah, that sounds a little overwhelming, and I'm usually pretty good with like those because like I love a good soundtrack will get me. A good soundtrack will get me. I love powerful speakers, but there is a limit. There is absolutely a limit. Okay.
I'm a big sensory guy. A big thing of movies for me is I like the sensory aspect of them. And
Yeah.
I guess that's the neurodivergent side of me.
Yeah, I can understand that. Sometimes it can be
You
overwhelming.
neurodivergent?
But yeah.
Would not have guessed. I do have a question for the table, and this may not be applicable for you because some of the channels didn't translate well. Were you a Disney kid, a Nick kid, or a Cartoon Network kid?
So technically kind of Disney and Cartoon Network because I didn't grow up with cable or anything. I just grew up with TV, and we had, I'm sure you've had Australians talk about this, toaster TV and cheese TV. I get the two confused. And
Cheese toasties. That would fuck you up. It's like cheese toasty cheese.
And
Yep.
I get like destroyed. People be like, no, you got to get the right one. That one was the bad one. This one's good one. Anyway, I used to watch a lot of stuff on there, and that was a lot of like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, One Piece. It was a lot of Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'd watch a lot of Cartoon Network vicariously through that, and then Disney, because I just grew up with Lion King, Jumbo. But yes, so a bit of both, I guess.
Okay.
But I don't,
What about you, Nicole?
I am Disney to my core, but Nickelodeon rising.
Not like a star sign.
Yeah, that's
I'm a
really-
Cartoon Network moon.
Yes, like,
Actually, no, I didn't watch Nickelodeon. So
yeah, because when I was younger, that was actually when I realized that we were doing this episode. The first movie on my list was The Little Mermaid because that was the princess that defined everything to me as like a little girl. That talk about soundtrack, some of the best songs, some of the best singing, really good story. I have a rant, but I'm going to table the rant just to kind of go through the whole Disney aspect of things. I've always just been I've been very much hero-driven, character-driven, plot-driven, good soundtrack, overcoming an obstacle, hopeless romantic. I was that from the time that I was a child. So I've always just lived for that kind of storytelling and just being like, if you really believe in yourself, anything can happen. Like anything's possible, anything can happen. Nickelodeon was definitely the silly side of things, and I live for it. I am very much a SpongeBob to this day. You can pull out any kind of SpongeBob reference, and I'm gonna get it. It is so funny and so silly, and I love that Steven Hillenburg. I think that was the creator of the show. He was like, was he a marine biologist? And he was like, I'm gonna just make a TV show. Yeah,
Yes.
come on, heavily influenced. He was
What
smoking.
if his sponge
He's like
talked?
touching the sea star, and there was a crab, and he was their boss, and the silliest thing, because I think there's power in the silly, because if you're able to think outside of the box, you're able to like imagine a bit more. And speaking of being outside of the box, that's why I loved me some Ariel. Rant incoming. So everybody's adjusting in their seats.
What's that, popcorn?
In the age of discourse, people like to make fun of Ariel for being like, oh, she left her family behind. She left everybody behind. She changed her life for a man. It's like, you guys, pay attention. In the very beginning, Homegirl is done. She's over it.
Yeah.
She's done living in this kingdom. She's done living in the ocean. She's just like, there's gotta be more to everything that I've grown up with.
Yep.
She's always wanted to seek something different, something outside of what it is that she knows. And I feel there's a lot of parallels between me and her, especially with moving to Australia.
I was about to say, you were Ariel right now, talking about it. It's like, I'm going to defend myself, is what you're saying.
Because
If you moved
everybody
near the Great Barrier Reef as well.
Yeah.
Listen, I was swimming in my bathtub as like a kid, almost drowning, trying to sing underwater because that's how much influence Ariel had under my life. But to me, she represented feeling the fear, doing it anyways, and then just thinking, just knowing that there's more to life other than what it is you know, and keeping an open mind. Because through her father just was like, humans are terrible, don't ever get around them. Like, he was like humancist, I don't know.
Speciesist?
He was like racist against humans, but she was like, nah, I don't think they're that bad. So she's just very strong-minded individual, and I fuck with Ariel the long way. Yeah, because there's got to be more out there, kids. Adventure is out there.
I'm trying to think if there's any characters that like specifically motivated me in like
Hercules for me, her cousin. Her cousin.
Yes, her cousin.
Because Triton is just Neptune. And Zeus is his dad. They're cousins.
Okay.
But he's somewhere. It's like, I don't feel like I fit in here. Find somewhere I belong. I'm like, bitch, me either. Because sitting here is that one gay black kid who's bullied for X, Y, Z, all these things. Like, no, I got to find a place that's for me. This is not it.
Go the distance.
I can go the distance.
It is, oh my God. And
I will
once
find
again,
my way.
It's like,
I can go the distance.
Yes. I have often dreamed of a far-off place with a great warm welcome will be waiting there for me. And the crowds will cheer when they see my face. And a voice inside me says, this is where I'm supposed to be. Like, oh my God. Like, how do you not get goosebumps? Like,
is that a copyright strike?
I think
Don't
it's
sue us.
I think it's karaoke.
But oh my God, it's just, so
Because
fabulous.
I was always obsessed with Greek mythology, so Hercules was on my list actually. So I was always obsessed with Greek mythology growing up. And like, yes, I knew it was inaccurate, but I was 8. I'm like, but I still love it because the muses. You cannot tell me the
Goddesses
muses did
of
not.
the arts and proclaimers of heroes. Heroes like Hercules.
Honey, you mean Hercules? I love to make sweet music with him.
Our story.
90s.
God, 90s.
Like, there were a lot of incredible soundtracks, but for me, Hercules is my favorite Disney movie because, one, the muses. You can't tell me, yes, they were clearly black. Greek mythology, Hercules was hot as shit. Meg didn't need him. Meg was like, I'm going to do what I want. Like, they were all just so well done. And Hades, queer-coded as shit. From start to finish, top-tier movie. Could watch it over and over again. But as far as the Disney, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network went, Cartoon Network never had any movies, so like it's not the same category for me. But for television, Cartoon Network. Because when you're talking about like wild, creative shows, they had a show called Cow and Chicken.
Yes!
Chicken.
Like, Dad was proud. He didn't care how. Their parents were just legs. Their parents were just legs.
Yes.
I did not expect to hear Cow and Chicken come back into my life.
So good. No, the elite cartoons.
Yeah, and it was
Very
like
much so.
I Am Weasel, IR Baboon, like that whole like there were so many characters. The Dexter's Laboratory, the shows they made, everyone was on something. They were definitely even present day shows like Gumball and Flapjack and all these other shows, they're definitely on.
Heavily influenced.
Very different. The children are not getting all these jokes. This is for us.
Yeah.
This is for us. And I'm like, thank you.
God, and even like Powerpuff Girls.
Rewatching that, those girls was definition of on site. And like, you know what, Mojo Jojo? I'm gonna beat your ass.
I loved it.
And the mayor was just so horny.
Right.
You rewatch
Mayor
that.
of Townsville, Miss Bellum.
Miss Bellum.
Miss Bellum, who again didn't have a face.
Did not have a face.
But listen, the body was tea.
Yes, absolutely. And so for me, it was Cartoon Network because Samurai Jack was also on there.
Oh, yeah.
That was me. My silly Nickelodeon. Disney Channel didn't really do cartoons that much. Like Disney Channel itself didn't really do cartoons. They were all people. Cartoon Network almost never had people.
I'm gonna have to challenge that just because there was the age of Darkwing Duck, Tailspin, DuckTales.
Should I say DuckTales?
Gummy Bears.
Oh, Gummy Bears, you probably left out.
Yeah.
You probably could have left out the Gummy Bears, but no. I think Cartoon Network was only cartoons. and Nickelodeon was almost only cartoons, but Disney was mostly people. Like, they did have their cartoons, but if you think about back, it's like, okay, cool. And then it ended up with the That's a Ravens and all these things like that. They did a lot more people. And I was like, people are cool, but give me some cartoons.
So I didn't watch a single bit of live action Nickelodeon growing up. And so all of this drama
loved it.
that has been coming out
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
has been so confusing to
Yeah.
me because I'm like, what?
Yeah.
No, I grew up
it's-
on all that.
it's
And
really-
then
yeah,
the
same.
Amanda Show,
All that, the Amanda Show,
Drake
Keenan
and
and
Josh.
Kel.
Oh, Keenan and Kel. Wait, because I didn't watch it. Was Keenan and Kel safe? Are my babies okay? Or because I know it was. I know
haven't really
Amanda was.
been- yeah.
I didn't want to watch it. Silence on the Set or whatever it's called. I didn't want to watch
Yeah,
it.
I haven't watched it either. I've just
Yeah, me
heard
neither.
about it and I was like, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
But also, damn.
Yeah, well, when all the information came out about Dan Schneider a while ago, I was just like, you know what, that makes a lot of sense because there was a lot of creepy shit
Yes.
that was shot on the show with iCarly and everything, and it was just so sad. I haven't heard, I know it was the vocal coach or something like that, right? Like, his last name was Peck, but he's not related to Josh Peck. Yeah, but it makes sense because kids are very vulnerable. You
And
know,
again, like what we said
it's-
earlier, it's like without that protection, it's just like,
Yeah, and in Hollywood, they're just thrown to the wolves because people are just wanting to appease what's ever going on.
Yeah.
Makes me think of Brooke Shields having her first full nudity at 13 years old, maybe even younger, maybe 12 or 11 in Pretty Baby, where she played a child prostitute. And like her mom was like, yeah, she'll do it. She'll be naked in this movie. And then Blue Lagoon, where she was, I think, 14.
Oh my God. Yeah, I
14,
forgot about
and then
that
she's like
movie
fully
existing.
nude. Yeah, it's just insane. So kids are vastly unprotected in Hollywood. So I'm always up for calling them out. Call them out. Call out them predators.
do it to it.
Yeah.
So I know we talked about a lot of media that made us in our past, and so we still have a little bit of time. What about media in the last couple of years that stand out as like a cult classic? Because I have one for myself, if you want me to go first, and just before to give you some more time to
You
think.
can go because
Yeah.
I've got, yeah.
So one of my favorite movies of all time that came out, and as soon as I saw it, I'm like, this is an instant classic, was Easy A.
Yes.
And like Emma Stone, I really hope nothing comes out so that she's actually a bad person, because like I fuck with her the long ways, like real hard. That movie was the quintessential 80s reference. Yes, it was literally making references to 80s things, and it was just Stanley Tucci. Stanley Tucci and the
Honorary
wife.
gay man.
And Patricia, whatever her name is. Yes, honorary gay man. Them Wears Prada, Hunger Games. When I wanted to be a parent, I wanted to be a parent like Stanley Tucci and his wife, whose name I can't remember, like Patricia something. I don't know.
I
But
don't care. It's Stanley
It's
Tucci.
Stanley Tucci.
It's
Stanley Tucci.
marry me.
Well,
Yeah.
Stanley Tucci, if you're out here, whenever you're ready to come out, Isaac is ready.
Easy A is actually a good bit of fun. I can't remember it. I haven't seen it in years.
You need to rewatch it.
I do. No, I'm trying to think of movies that I've recently watched. My lawsuit is still pending with Jordan Peele for Get Out.
Your lawsuit, go on.
So Jordan Peele happens to like have stolen all of my ideas. I don't know if many people know this.
Tell you the truth. Speak on it.
Well, I really wanted to do something about racism, but that specific Obama would have voted a third time thing.
Yeah.
And then he comes along and goes, there's not enough black horror movies out there. And I was just like, yes, yes. And then he finally did his career and I was like, this is kind of like what I wanted to do. And I was like, well, as long as he doesn't do anything to do with UFOs. And then the motherfucker does something with UFOs. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, as long as he doesn't like, release it in IMAX. And he's pandering to me a bit too much. And then he's like, oh yeah, it's shot exclusively with IMAX cameras. Oh, fuck you then.
I love that. He's like, it's not like a door's opening for you. It's like, he took this.
So yeah, Jordan, you're not opening a door yet.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
So I guess, well, I mean, you could claim that he took your ideas from your friends.
Which friends?
The friends who made that Monkey Paw movie, the scary
Talk to
Me.
Oh, talk to me.
Or you're not allowed to talk about that.
Wait, no, I can talk about that. Of course I can talk about that.
Well, maybe your friends sold you out. They gave all their ideas to Jordan Peele when they met him.
No, they met him in like 20... So I'm ruining your joke because I was like, they met him like literally last year because they were like, oh my God, it's Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sam Raimi and fucking...
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Have you seen Talk to Me?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. I was very much seated for it. Sophie did a fantastic job.
Oh,
I love
good.
the writing. I just love when a horror movie is happy being mysterious and not every question needs
Has
to be answered, because there are some movies that are like, well, we're getting towards the end of the movie, so we got to wrap a big bow on this whole thing and find a reason for everything. And it was just so well done. Good pace. Good shooting, good themes throughout. They did their big one with it. It was very well done.
And it has an atmosphere to it.
Totally.
Which I really dig.
Totally. It was just creepy, mysterious, the family dynamic. I kind of wanted to say, granted, I know they wouldn't have done it on purpose. There was like a tiny bit of a racial element as well. But that's just how it is when we walk into a room. You become aware as soon as somebody is there that's different, because it was the whole thing of how the family was so accepting of her, but then as soon as shit started to go down, they were like, get her out of here.
You are not actually one of us.
You are other. Get her out of
Yeah.
here. But again, that's what the story is, so it's probably not necessarily race-based, but it's just visually speaking. That's what it comes down to.
I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah. They're smart. They did that very well.
Yeah, no. The Australian families in it. Like, it felt like an Australian family.
Totally.
The keep your hands out of my daughter's vagina line just gets me every time.
Gosh, this cat. But he was the most he was like the prudest kid. They haven't even kissed, and yeah, it's like, yeah. But oh god, and really good body horror.
Yes.
Really good body horror.
Oh my god.
I'm cringing, literally
'Cause have you
contorting
watched-
in my seat because I could not even.
Have you watched their YouTube channel?
No, I didn't watch Raka Raka. No, I didn't check it out.
Their channel is just all them brutally murdering kids in the funniest way possible and in the goriest way possible. So when I went in to Talk to Me, I was like, I know they're going to fuck up a kid in this movie,
Yeah.
but I don't know how. And so I was just spending the whole time there going, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? And even if it does or does not happen, I was still like, fuck, that was very good.
Yeah, I was screaming in the theater. It was really good. It was very well done. I hope they do more.
Oh yeah, their career is set for them.
Yeah, I hope they do more. I love a horror movie. I am very much a horror girly.
You like horror, Rashad, don't you?
No,
Yeah.
Why not?
my mother. As a child, shout out to my mother once again.
Shout out to Mama. Yeah.
She loved horror, absolutely. That was her bread and butter. And I was like, ooh, I want to stay up and watch these movies. So she let me watch It and all these other movies. Like, I don't fuck with clowns because of it. I've seen most of the mainstream horror movies. It's either really good and I'm terrified, or it's really bad and I wasted my time. So it's not really, there's a rare win for me in the horror space. No, it's not, that's not my cup of tea.
Yeah. I totally get that. I used to feel that way about horror movies, and then the older I got, and once I actually started acting and going on set, you're just like, oh, people actually work really, really hard.
It's one of
on
the
these
hardest.
things. It's
Horror and comedy.
horror and comedy, yeah. And I feel maybe with horror, the bar is like, take this with a grain of salt. I think the bar is a bit lower because you can have silly, stupid horror movies. Yeah, you can camp it up a bit with silly horror movies, but that doesn't mean that I love it any less. But sometimes you don't have to like think too hard about it. But when the good ones come along, you're just like, yes, so good. I actually wrote on my list like media that made me. What Lies Beneath.
When did that come out?
With what's her name? Michelle Pfeiffer. It came out in the 90s or early 2000s.
Is that the one with, I think she's starting to expect something. Who?
Your wife. Yeah, that is a movie. I can watch that
That also fucked me up. That movie also fucked me up.
love
I've seen most of the mainstream horror movies. Like, I've seen them. Doesn't mean I enjoyed them. It's like, I've already started, now we got to finish. I'm like, nightmares. A lot of nightmares.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah.
So, anyone have any other things they want to cross over before we get kicked out of here?
We've already kind of flown past the Disney thing because I was going to
Yeah.
mention
After
yeah.
like you got stuck in a horror, it's kind of hard to hop back. Like, and then.
Yeah. Because
Both of your new age, because you didn't give your new age pick. Because my new age pick was Easy A. Yours was not Get Out. You went on a rant.
Yeah, I 100% went on a rant. My pick would be genuinely Lord of the Rings as a trilogy, because that's what got me into wanting to make movies. And the way it got there was, as a little kid, I saw Star Wars a lot. and I like Star Wars a lot. And then the moment Lord of the Rings came out, I literally put down Star Wars and then just made Lord of the Rings my personality.
Yes.
And that has continued until this date.
Dune.
Love it.
Well, yeah. Well, no, the best way I pitched Dune to someone was I said, if Lord of the Rings hadn't come out and I was the age when Lord of the Rings came out, Dune would have been my like big go-to shift.
Okay.
Fuck Harry Potter. This is what it is type thing. Yeah, so probably Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
I guess because that's new age-ish, and I was like 7 when it came out, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Love that.
Lord of the Rings is good. And now that I'm watching it through older eyes, I'm like, oh, okay, this is actually really, really cool. I've just finally started to open my mind a bit more to the fantasy aspect of things, because I used to be like, what is all this, or thinking it's too nerdy, and it's just like, no, it's really imaginative and it's world building,
Yes.
which
The
is
world
what I
building
love,
is
which is what I love.
The world building in Dune reminds me of Lord of the Rings as well.
Oh, see, that's cool.
Because you mentioned that. That was the one moment that kind of, okay, maybe I'll actually, because I was like, I'll watch it. Didn't know where I'm on this, but like,
I will give you this preemptive with Dune, and this isn't really a spoiler. Zendaya is in part 1 for like
2 seconds. Yeah,
2
I heard.
seconds.
And then the second movie, she's like, I'm that bitch.
Yeah, and also the first
love
movie is like a Deathly Hallows Part 1 situation where it ends and you are just like,
Wow.
oh,
Yeah.
that wasn't, you just to be continued me pretty hard.
Yeah, you built up this whole thing, and then all the stuff happens. I've heard that. I have heard that. That's what made me want to wait till it came out to decide if I was going to jump onto that, because it was like a 2-year wait because of all the COVID things and filming and whatnot. But if you like world building, actually, someone asked me, you've seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, right, Nicole?
The Last Airbender, yes.
Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Yeah.
Not because The Last Airbender is a movie.
Yeah, yes.
So you've seen the cartoon?
I've seen the cartoon.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I haven't
'cause
taken part in the live action.
No, the live action was terrible, but it was more just because world building, and like that is such a great show that also personality. That show, like I watched it like live, and when it came out during COVID, I was a semi gatekeeper for a hot second. I'm like, y'all called me a nerd when I was watching this when I was 14, but now everyone loves it. Fuck y'all. But also it's like, no, they're finally coming around, so we're gonna let them. We're gonna let them. The door is open. Aang would want this.
Yeah. No, it's so good. Yeah, I didn't watch it until 2020. It was my lockdown show, and I was just like, wow, no wonder people go on about this show. It was so fabulous. Great character arcs as well. Each character was relatively different than what it is that they started with. There was a bit of progression.
growth.
Because I can't stand shows that the characters are exactly the same at the very end as they were in the beginning.
Did you learn nothing? Did you learn nothing
Yeah.
from this? Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was really good, really fabulous. Because I operate in 2 modes. Either it's like the silliest thing on the planet, or hello, darkness, my old friend.
No,
Like,
that's me.
It's just ping-ponging between the 2 of those. So the silly bit of it, for me, it's Futurama. That is my go-to-sleep. That's my go-to-sleep show.
Futurama.
It's so good.
Genuinely a good sci-fi show. As
Really
well.
a good
no one ever
sci-fi
talks
show.
about that.
Really a good sci-fi show. Good lore, good flashbacks, good timeline things.
And the science in the science fiction is also insanely good.
It's-
It's one of those shows people don't talk about all that stuff enough
It doesn't
about.
get its proper. It doesn't get its due, and it's so good and it's so freaking funny. It's so freaking funny. Fry is so dumb.
Oh my god, I was watching it, not last night, night before with my partner. I was showing him Princess Mononoke.
Oh, okay, yeah.
For the first time?
Yeah, for him the first time.
Okay. I mean, I knew it wasn't your first time.
Oh, it's never my first time. And one thing that was happening with it, because he wanted to watch it dubbed instead of with subtitles. This was the first time I'd ever watched it dubbed in my life. And one of the characters, I just kept going, who is that? No, for really, who is that? And then it was fucking Bender.
Oh my
The whole
god!
time. And I can't remember
No
which character
way.
it was now. It was just one of the guards.
That's amazing.
And he's just yelling at everyone. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, who is this?
Oh my
And
gosh.
has anyone seen Scavenger's Reign?
No.
Really amazing cartoon. It's only 12 episodes.
HBO
on
Max?
binge. So
Oh, wait.
Max,
Oh,
yeah.
'cause that was one was like kind of like weird dystopian future thingy.
Yeah, it's about a crew that crash land on like a planet, and it's basically more about the ecology of the planet than it is about like
Yes.
the crew. Anyway, the reason I just bring it up is because 2 of the characters in there, I was just like, wait a minute, they're in Princess Mononoke as well. And it was just
Wow,
like two of the
that's
voice
great.
actors, and they're beefing in both of them, and I was like,
Love it.
huh.
Get
We're
paid
carrying
for
this
that.
over to all
That's right.
medias. But we actually didn't even get to the music, so I guess we'll just have
Sure
to
didn't.
save that for some other time. But again, thank you so much for hopping in here with us, Isaac.
Thank you very much for having me.
As traumatizing as it was, it's going to be great content. So,
Always take an opportunity to rant about movies and TV shows.
Yes, it's so. I mean, like that's what it's about, right? It's like it's art and it's meant to be discussed.
Yeah, interpret as you will. And the fact that we've given multiple medias to kind of show people what shaped us to be the people that we are. Have a little death, have a little bending, have a little plagiarism. Jordan Peele.
Plagiarism.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Jordan Peele played. Of course, he plagiarized you, obviously.
No, he has. Absolutely.
And it's on the record. Let me know how that court case goes, because I'm rooting for you. We're all rooting for you.
Please do. The script was called Get In. He just changed it to Get Out.
Get in. Shut up.
Calm down, throat goat.
Someone's out there writing the porn for it. They're just like,
I would have fucked Obama a third time if I could. But until next time, I'm Richard.
and I'm Nicole.
And this has been Melanated in Melbourne.
See ya.
This has been Melanated in Melbourne, a podcast that analyzes the Australian lifestyle from the lens of two Black American besties. Visit us at melanatedinmelbourne.com or follow us on Instagram to send us your comments or questions. Thank you for listening.